Jessica, so lovely to have you here at Barcelona Metropolitan today. How are you?
Yeah, awesome. Happy to be here.
Good. So, Jessica Brightfield is a therapist, speaker, and advocate for female empowerment in male-dominated workspaces. An expert in psychological safety, diversity, and inclusion, she's an adaptability practitioner that has spoken at conferences in 40 countries. Spurred by her own experiences and those of her clients, Jessica has just founded the Unapologetic movement, where she acts as a leadership trainer, helping women to find their voice and stand out in business. So Jessica, why did you start the Unapologetic movement?
I was looking at what am I doing with these women? What results am I getting? What is it that I've been doing and what am I passionate about? And I put those together with ChatGPT, which means like pretty much my boyfriend, my marketing guy, and we decided that this is what it's all about. It's if women don't stop apologizing, we're not going to move ahead, because if we keep apologizing for who we are and what we aren't good at, how are we going to compete with men who don't often apologize for not being perfect?
So why do you claim that women are better keynote speakers than men?
I've been training women for like 10 years, and the way to be good on stage is, drum roll, nobody really knows, they think it's good storytelling. Yes, storytelling is the answer. But storytelling is made up of emotions. And if you can't elicit and evoke emotions in the audience, then the people are just listening with their head, not with their heart. And marketers know that people buy with their heart and with their fear. So those are both emotional. And women have been trained and socialized in every country I've been to be emotional. Whereas men have been trained to not show fear and not show excessive excitement and be more cool. So women know how to tell stories better than men do. And they also have, in general, more empathy. It's kind of like programmed into us when we have babies and before we have babies, because we're socialized to be a social unit where we support each other. Whereas men tend to be more competitive. A huge difference in the socialization of women. Plus, we tend to be a little bit better at listening. That is not a gender thing. It's just socialized where I have been, that men often have the power in the room, almost everywhere I've been. And so women often have to listen more. But get women together and we talk a whole lot more than men. So I think we were born to be on stages and socialized to be up there. So
that's a really, really interesting and empowering perspective, actually. So when did you feel apologetic, and has that fueled you to fight for women's empowerment?
When I was 11, I had a really huge problem that I was so horrified to be myself, and I got bullied for being too big, and they called me a boy. And when you're that young and you don't feel good in your body, you stop trusting the world. And I started being scared of girls because they were mean to me. They're like, why do you have boobs and that big? And I'm like, I don't know, because I matured faster. Why are you wearing a bra? Because I have boobs. Like, they were mean, and I didn't trust girls anymore. And then boys just wanted to arm wrestle me or date me in the future. Some guys like really strong girls. And I just never wanted any girl to ever feel the way I felt when I was 11. I had no friends, and I would read a book a day. That would have helped me in my career if I would have kept that up. But luckily I got over that, and 2 years later I came out shining bright. But I remember that year of being very sad and confused and not knowing why nobody liked me and not being able to change the reason that they don't like me. It's like my body was the reason they didn't like me, and I couldn't do anything about that. And that is a crappy way to feel for something that you cannot change in this lifetime.
Yeah. That actually takes on to my next question really nicely, the concept of external judgment and the male gaze. So in your TED talk, I thought that one comment was particularly striking, which was, what good is a beautiful face in a COVID crisis? And that story was in terms of one of the struggles that your clients felt addressing their feminine identity during the pandemic. And in fact, your TED talk made me think of Ruby Kaul's line, I want to apologise to all the women I've called beautiful before I've called them intelligent or brave. And it speaks volumes about the values in women that society prioritises and uses to categorise. And as a therapist, can you tell me a bit about the ways in which women can detach themselves from the identities and values of aesthetics that are impressed upon us?
Sure. I made a commitment 2 years ago to stop calling women beautiful. A compliment that I would really like is like, wow, what a fighter you are. What a funny, kind woman you are. That hits home. What I buy, Adumana, what my eyes look like from birth. I had no control over how beautiful my eyes are. I can't control those things, so they're not really worthwhile compliments. They say when you compliment a child on their drawings, I'm not a mom, but I've heard, you don't say, how beautiful is your picture? Because the kid's like, really? Why? What part? If it's not specific, it doesn't hit home. And so when we call women beautiful, it propagates the whole idea that that's all we're good for. So being beautiful is such a waste of time. Like the amount of time that I thought about going to the gym, I could have probably learned Spanish by now, you know, and that probably would have helped my life and my self-esteem a lot more.
Yeah, there's a particular interview with, what's the brilliant actress? Emma Thompson, where she talks about the concept, which I think I really resonate as well, how much energy and time women waste thinking about their body and what they look like, energy that could be spent on better, more empowering things, learning, being themselves.
Having fun.
Your 80-20 technique also struck me as particularly relevant in a time where the discourse around female guilt was growing. Tell me about this method and how you practice it in the everyday.
The 80-20. So I love donuts. I'm a Canadian and we eat the most donuts in the world, and every donut has, that was probably vulgar, but it has a hole in the middle of it. And if it doesn't have a hole, it's been stuffed with custard or something delicious, or Nutella, my fave. And we think we're doing okay. I'm a great mother. I'm a great employee. I'm a great wife. I have a great ass. You can't do it all. It's like people in society expect women to like have a full-time job and be a really great mother. Literally, you can't do both. I can hardly cook and clean for myself, and I don't even have children. I don't even know how these women do it. They're superheroes, and they're hard on themselves. And if they're not hard on themselves, their mother-in-laws are, because they're not good enough mothers. It's just a disaster. And so if we, instead of the yin-yang of Buddhism, which is like 50-50, good and bad, I've decided that I don't think I'm like 50% bad. I think I'm like 20% bad. Really bad. Like want to push someone off the side of the metro if they're walking too slowly, gonna hide the cookies from my husband because they're the expensive ones with real butter in them. Like gonna be mean and say things to me when I see a girl something that I'm jealous of. Like I have that dirty, ugly, smelly 20%. And if I pretend I don't have it and I shame other people for showing their other 20%, how is this helping the narrative at all? How is this helping any of us? 2 hours ago, I did not look like this. My hair was not brushed. I did not have this mascara on, and I was not wearing a bra. And I was that 80-20 human. But as soon as I go into society, and I want you to think I'm well put together, I can manage everything, my life is great, I have abs under this, and it's a lie. So I would prefer that we, with humor, laugh at our weaknesses, which aren't weaknesses, they're just our humanness. So the 80-20 is like a humor-tude. A humor attitude of accepting when we make a mistake, not apologizing for not being 100% perfect. I'm not going to apologize if I do something that isn't wrong just because I'm not enough. I'm going to say, here's what I can actually do.
Do you think that not having makeup on and not wearing a bra actually falls into the 20? Like, is it bad?
That's a good question. Yeah, if you were to walk into my house, you would see smoothie all over the floor because my machine, well, no, I was pouring it, I messed up. I hate wearing bras and I hate makeup. So yeah, I don't look like the perfect girlfriend. I don't look like the perfect professional that manages my kitchen duties and my professional duties, that these are like, bing, perfect all the time. No, I'm flawed. It's not the
I do
image.
agree with the 80-20 method. Like, I think it's a really, really interesting point. And I do think that what's great about it is, you know, if we accept our flaws and things that we don't do right, maybe in a way that 20 isn't really a 20 anymore because we can normalize mistakes.
And are they mistakes or flaws?
Well,
if every human has them.
I don't think that not wearing a bra or wearing makeup is a mistake or flaw. But it is about opening up the narrative of what is a flaw in a woman. I think that's really interesting.
I like that. I've never thought of it exactly in those words. Open up the narrative of what is a flaw and what is worth apologizing for and what isn't.
What isn't a flaw? Right?
What society looks at us and says, oh, she didn't do her hair, she's not wearing a bra, she doesn't have her nails done, her boyfriend broke up with her, she must be a disaster, or she is not a suitable, attractive woman for me. And those aren't flaws whatsoever, so why are we apologizing for things that aren't wrong with us?
Definitely, and I feel like there's a different guilt that women feel about the kinds of relationships they should be nurturing, like the things that they should be doing right that men don't experience in the same way, because we've been molded to be these people that are just generally more perfect, not just in how we look, but in the way that we treat other people, that I feel like women feel so much more shame for their mistakes than men do. Anyway, let's move on to the next question.
That's interesting.
As someone from Canada who has travelled to, worked in and spoken in conferences around the world, what made you decide to settle in Barcelona to build up a business within the network of female workers and businesswomen?
Barcelona is the place that I thought would be full of people that I could learn from. I was living in India and in Munich before I came here, and I don't want to learn much from German people because I am German. I already know the value that they have, and I have a couple of those really ingrained, and I'm very proud to have those values of hard work and honesty. And so I thought, where do people enjoy life more? Where do people live the 80-20 rule? You are just a human with flaws. You have something to learn in this lifetime. You were reborn, or you were born for the first time if you are not into that belief. And you have to learn something here. And it's not about how to have the nice nails and how to get the hottest boyfriend and to have the coolest kids and to do everything perfectly. That is not why we are here. But social media tells us that's why we're here. And that is total crap, and it depresses us, and it is absolutely horrible. I hate social media, and thanks for liking.
Yeah, social media definitely is very toxic sometimes. So as you say on your website, we are part of a feminist movement now that has had many names. And you know, feminism has also had many dimensions, waves and approaches throughout time and across the globe. So why is #unapologetic so critical to women today? And as an international speaker, how do you think your message differently resonates with women across the world?
What a great question, and such a huge question.
I know, sorry.
Did you just apologize for doing an amazing question?
I did, yeah.
You did, right? Keep that on. That's why we have to be unapologetic, because it's ingrained in us to say sorry when we have no reason to apologize. Just because it might have made someone a little bit uncomfortable is not a reason to apologize. Like, billions of women have done this before me, right? I am the beneficiary of women burning their bras and standing up to their husbands and fighting to participate in marathons and all that stuff that I don't want to participate in. So this is my little piece of trying to get women to speak on microphones more, to get their place at the tables, and stop apologizing for not being friggin' men. And then secondly, not that men are perfect anyway, but not being perfect. And that, I think the young people can actually learn from me, because I have so much to learn from the Gen Zs, because you guys are kick-ass. You guys are like lady bosses. You guys like don't shave your legs. You're like, whatever, I'm gonna wear like sneakers with like a fancy shiny dress that 40-year-old women would never do. You guys are inspiring us. So I thought this little piece is like, I'm gonna teach you how to speak. That's my movement.
Well, I've asked all my questions. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed chatting with you.
You're welcome. Thanks so much.